So, Daniel, I was wondering, how on earth do you get to book valuations directly from your social media content? How does it work? I mean, how on earth do you get valuations from your content?
It depends really on where you are in your estate agency and how big you are. Because, a bigger estate agency with more people looking at their content, more eyeballs, some people might say.
Yes.
Because more people look at what they do, they have a volume of people. Okay. So they can get away with a strategy where, you just ask for valuations because lots of people are looking.
You could just ask for valuations in your content?
Yeah, you can.
You put
That's the thing.
Saying, I want a valuation, come to me. You come to me for a valuation?
That's the thing. When you have an audience, or when you have the right volume of people looking at your stuff, you can actually book valuations with people. Because here's the thing.
Do you know how big an audience you'd need?
Well, it actually depends. But what we always recommend is that you actually start from a lower strategy and then take micro steps. So I'll explain what I mean.
Please do. That'd be good. I don't know what
But this is very big, strange triangle. So there are 3 kinds of ways that you can actually book valuations from.
That says most volume.
Yes, most volume.
Okay, so most volume.
And then volume.
Okay, we've got volume.
And then quality.
And we're talking about the amount of people looking at you.
I'll explain now.
Okay, beg your pardon.
So what happens is, when you start, when you first start, you haven't got an amazing audience yet. Not many people are actually calling you already to book valuations because that's a good sign.
Yeah.
If you're one of the top 3 agents in your area being called out to valuations, then that's a good sign that you have a large volume of people looking at what you do already.
Yes, that's a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've been working hard already and doing things right.
Exactly. But here's the thing: when you've got that audience and you've got that volume, you can focus on more of a quality approach.
What does that mean? Quality approach.
Yeah. So
what's the benefits?
The benefit is that you actually speak to less people and you can qualify them more. So you can actually skip steps and actually bring in, just people who want a valuation directly.
Wow.
But here's the thing: when you're first starting out, when you've got a lower volume of people, when you've got less of an audience looking at your content, you want to go for a strategy that gives you the most volume of people to speak to.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because if you're speaking to more house sellers, for example, if you were able to speak to 100 house sellers in Facebook Messenger, for example, do you think you'd be able to book a few valuations?
Yeah, definitely. It would be scary if you couldn't, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you'd learn a lot. You'd learn a lot about what they're about. So that's why when you first start, you want to go for a most volume strategy.
Okay.
And what you do for something like that is you'd actually, if you were doing an ad, you'd go add to Messenger.
Okay. What's your own Messenger? Are we doing this on our own pages or on business pages?
Your Facebook page Messenger. Your Facebook page has its own Messenger. You could do it on your own, you can do it organically or with your own profile. Yeah. But if you did like a £5 ad or something, it would be a lot faster.
Okay.
That's the thing.
When you say a lot faster, what does that mean? Are we talking about
you actually get an audience because you need to start with an audience. Otherwise, nobody's actually going to come through. You need some sort of audience.
That actually makes sense. Otherwise, people aren't going to see it there. How much of an audience do you think you need for this to start working?
Well, you just need to reach the people in your area who are homeowners, and to do that, you can just use a £5 ad to start with. You can go into groups and message people. You can grow organically, but it's going to be so slow to begin with if you don't actually get in front of people. This £5 ad is how you get an audience fast.
Oh, right. Okay.
And as you start getting an audience...
Do you know what the comparison is from organic to using your £5 ad? Do you think? More or less. I mean, I know it's different for every area.
It's a lot of work, organic is, because you actually have to make up the difference that ad is actually going to get you.
So you have to
if I
go
for example, we're running £5 ads now, which to get our own audience of estate agents. And what happens is, it costs us about £3.50 on average to reach 1,000 people.
What?
£3.50 on average to reach 1,000 people each time with our videos.
£3.50 to reach 1,000. £3.50 to reach 1,000
Yep.
people. Are they targeted? Do we know who they are?
These are called people in the UK, so it will vary slightly. But that's the thing. If you set up a video and focus on video views, it will focus more on these people. And what we're doing at this point is we're actually building a warm audience. So we put out a piece of content that would be beneficial to estate agents and only estate agents to watch. It actually helps them how to structure their offer and other such subjects that are going to help them. You can actually probably find them on our page. And what happens is, as you watch these videos, the longer you watch them, if you watch up to 25%, we can actually retarget.
Okay,
and that's actually part of the strategy.
How much does retargeting cost?
Retargeting ads. Well, here's the thing: it's less. It might cost you the same to reach 1,000 people, but you can be sure that these people are completely interested in your business because they've watched 25% of your video of you just explaining your process and how it works, or how you're working through your strategy.
That's really clever. That's much better than the old strategies.
Yeah, and then just that's.
They were quite random, weren't they? They turned out, after all the targeting, I think it went for housing and that.
And here's the thing: we're not only doing that. So imagine we're running an ad to build this audience of people. We're getting the stage to watch our videos so we can grow this audience. We've got like 276 people now that have watched our video from about maybe 7 or 8 days, about a week or so of running these ads. In full transparency, we spent about £120 so far. Yeah, and then so we're building this warm audience that we can retarget again and again. This will work the same for a estate agency. We'll just put your content in front of this. And then so what happens at the same time is that we're doing a strategy to get estate agents to talk with us.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're putting what we call a value bomb.
What's a value bomb?
So value bomb, lead magnet, essentially what it is you're creating some sort of document or tool and you're offering it in your ad.
Okay.
So what we're doing is
a tool.
We're offering a value bomb to anybody who comments on our video.
Okay, and what does that mean? What's a value bomb?
Value bomb is just like, let's say, lead magnets, value bombs. Let's say you wrote a document on how people can stage their property. And
you mean like instructions, you mean?
Yeah.
So people can get help.
The information that you give to people, you can share like a single quick win or a single strategy that's going to help people, and that can be your value bomb.
I've got loads of those.
Yeah, and you can relate it to your content as well, so it's relatable, and it just helps them actually do what you're teaching about or what you're teaching them about, which means that people watching your video are much more likely to pick it up.
So what kind of value bombs or tools could estate agents use?
I think, a bit of a tangent. What you can do is you can just make like a step-by-step.
Sorry, I've done the tangent.
No, that's fine. So you can do a step-by-step, or you can use some sort of, Google Sheets tools.
Oh, you mean like a calculator?
Yeah, I've seen like a calculator, or you can use
because I know that Claire was talking about calculators and stuff, didn't she?
Yeah. What happens is if like calculator or maybe a tracker of some sort.
Tracker, yeah. Okay.
What I've noticed is that this is more for lettings. There was a company that was called For the Landlords, and what they did is they created this value bomb that was essentially a property investor tracker.
Yeah.
And it just laid out their strategy in a way that people could understand it, people could measure where they are, set their goals for the next few years on how they actually wanted to invest. And it had all these little methods that they could actually learn about because they had their own proprietary mechanism to actually invest in properties and grow bigger. And that's how they would attract people. They would give people this mechanism for free, and they would learn about it from For the Landlords, and then they would actually go to them because they're the people executing the strategy.
I wish those people were around earlier in my life.
So you could speak
in
to
my
them.
investment journey a lot easier.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, back
Fair
to
enough.
okay. So valuables.
But what you really want to focus on is the comments.
Comments. Okay.
This is like the most volume strategy you could do. Get comments. Offer something of value to people for free in exchange for them commenting on your video.
Okay.
And it helps several ways. Every time someone comments on your Facebook post, for example, more people in your audience will see it.
How does that work?
Well, because it comments, it sends it to the top of the newsfeed.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So every time someone comments, more people are going to see it in your audience. Because naturally, if you post something and nobody comments on it, about 2% of your audience will see it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So the more comments you get, the more your post will be seen. That's very important for like an organic piece of content.
Yeah.
So that strategy helps twofold. And second, you're going to get lots of people commenting for your value bomb. Especially if you've made it helpful. If it's some, for example, the analogy we use is that it's hurtful to give away.
Okay.
So, for example, I'd give away like an ad strategy. I'd be teaching people how to do this now. I'd send them like a step-by-step process on how to set up posts that will, bring in more house sellers to speak to directly.
Wow. Well, it sounds like Dan's got some work set out today. He's going to be creating that for you guys.
That's fair enough. But here's the thing. Once you start getting comments in, you can actually send them a message. You can take them to Facebook Messenger. But by getting these first commitments in, the first comments, these are actually leads.
Are you qualifying?
Each comment is a lead.
Are you qualifying people at all in the comments, or are you just like just saying?
You can ask a qualifying question. It's actually useful to ask a qualifying question because what happens is, they'll ask for it, and then you can ask a question about what the problem is they're actually looking for, and then there's a way of actually asking that question. And when you do that, you get the first comment where they ask for the piece of value, your qualifying question, do 2 comments, twice to the top of the newsfeed.
Okay.
They reply 3 comments.
Nice.
And then you reply to them saying that you'll send it to their messenger. So for every lead, you get 4 comments sending your piece of content to the top of the newsfeed.
That's good use of that strategy.
And then once you're in Messenger, what you do is you qualify them. You work out what the problem actually is, because often it's not the same, not the same subject, but you actually work it out and then you solve it for them. So that's what the 2-step strategy is all about. But what actually happens as you go forward is you're going to start getting more people to see your content as you work on the most volume. And you're speaking to lots of house sellers in Messenger. And then you might say, okay, I'm actually speaking to too many people at this point because you've grown using this strategy. You've spoken to house sellers, you put valuations. So now you move up a micro step and you go to the volume stage and you go from your ad to an application page.
Wow.
So that's just like a form on your website where they can say, okay, fill in these details and we'll contact you about booking valuation or about solving your problem.
That's perfect. Well, I know how that works. That's brilliant. Well, if you want to know more about this, just give us a shout because Dan's been learning a really cool stuff, haven't you? Learning really cool stuff recently, and
for example, and then once you've actually got a high volume of people, once people are actually calling you out, you can just do ads that just make appointments. And you can just get quality people in. But
that's even better. I didn't realise you were going to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, well, it's the micro steps. You start at the bottom where the most people are actually going to speak to you. You speak to tons of people. Then you work out what the problem is. So your ads can be better. You actually solve their problem so they're more likely to book a valuation with you. People get to know what you're doing because you're reaching lots of people and helping lots of people. And then as you grow the number of people watching your ad, the more people commenting, you say, oh, okay, this is too much for me. I actually have to focus on my valuations now. You go to start making applications. You send everybody to make an application on your page, and then you reach out to them. You have that conversation with them.
Wow.
and then you grow your agency again, and then when you're too busy to start taking applications, you just get people to book themselves in.
That sounds brilliant. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Thanks, Dan. What do you think? Let us know what you think of that. Cheers.